At the beginning of the drama, we are introduced to the main male lead, Fang. He wakes up early in the morning and starts getting ready for school. On the other hand, we meet a cute girl named Xing. She is an innocent and extremely simple-minded girl. In fact, she's the kind of person who is always making silly mistakes without even realizing it. Today is also her very first day at this school, so she hurriedly gets ready and leaves for school. On the way, she stops at a convenience store to buy a cup of coffee. While walking, Xing notices a boy wearing the same school uniform and thinks about talking to him. However, before she can reach him, she accidentally slips. As a result, the coffee in her hand spills all over another boy standing nearby. Xing immediately rushes over and sincerely apologizes. But instead of accepting her apology, the boy gets furious and rudely tells her to get out of his way before walking off. At the same time, our male lead Fang also leaves without saying a single word to Xing, showing nothing but attitude. Unlike Xing, Fang is cold and hot-tempered. Even though he is very handsome, he gets irritated over the smallest things. After that, we are taken to the classroom. The class teacher announces that a new transfer student has joined their school today and asks everyone to welcome her. As soon as the teacher calls the new student inside, we see that it is none other than Xing. She begins introducing herself to the class, but in the middle of her introduction, one of the certificates hanging on the classroom wall suddenly falls to the floor. Xing quickly picks it up, and the teacher tells her to hand it over to the class monitor before taking the seat next to him. Interestingly, the class monitor turns out to be Fang. The moment Xing sees him, she immediately recognizes him as the rude boy she met earlier, and thinks to herself, so he's the same arrogant guy from this morning. She hands the certificates to Fang and sits beside him. Unfortunately, her luck is terrible because the chair is already broken from underneath. The moment she sits down, she falls straight to the floor in front of the entire class. The funniest part is that Fang already knew the chair was broken, yet he didn't bother warning her. As expected, the whole class bursts into laughter. Later, Xing changes her seat and sits beside another student. The student tells her that although Fang always looks cold and bad-tempered, he is actually a very kind-hearted person deep inside. Sometime later, the head teacher asks Xing to log into the school computer because they need her information to prepare her student ID card. At that moment, another boy secretly enters the teacher's office to steal a notebook. However, while rushing out, he accidentally knocks over a robot that Fang had built with great effort. The robot falls to the floor and breaks into pieces. The boy immediately runs away before anyone notices him. Just then, Xing hears the noise and enters the room, but by the time she arrives, the real culprit has already escaped. Since she is the only person there, the teacher assumes she is responsible and punishes her. Xing repeatedly explains that she didn't do anything and that someone else broke the robot, but the teacher refuses to believe her. The next day, one of the girls in the class asks Xing to clean the classroom in her place. Since Xing is too kind to refuse anyone, she agrees and cleans the entire classroom by herself. After finishing, she starts writing an application in a notebook. Just then, Fang walks in and asks, "Why are you writing in my notebook?" Xing carefully looks at it and realizes that she mistakenly picked up Fang's notebook because it looks exactly like hers. Feeling embarrassed, she quickly apologizes. Hearing this, Fang looks at her and says, "Why are you so foolish?" Xing immediately replies, "What do you mean? What did I do now?" The two of them begin arguing in a playful way before eventually leaving. The following day, Xing finally learns from Fang that it was actually another boy from their class who broke the robot that day. Hearing this, Xing immediately confronts the boy and asks if he was the one who did it. The boy gets scared and admits everything. He also sincerely apologizes to Xing for letting her take the blame. Being the kind-hearted person she is, Xing forgives him without holding any grudge. After this incident, Xing starts realizing that Fang isn't as mean as she originally thought. Although he looks angry all the time, he isn't actually a bad person. Fang then asks her, "If you saw that boy running away, why didn't you recognize him?" Xing replies, "I never saw his face." Fang teases her once again by saying, "Of course you didn't. You're such a dummy." Xing immediately argues back, and before long, the two of them start another cute little quarrel. As time passes, this kind of playful fighting gradually becomes a normal part of their daily lives. A few days later, the school holds an examination. When the results are announced, Xing receives only 38 marks. Shocked by the score, she tells the teacher, "This can't possibly be my result." However, the teacher refuses to believe her and instead scolds her for getting such low marks. The next day, while checking the answer sheet, Xing suddenly realizes that it isn't actually her exam paper. Then she remembers what happened during the exam. Because she was in such a hurry, she completely forgot to write her name on her answer sheet. Realizing this, she sighs and says to herself, I really don't know how foolish I can be. She explains the entire situation to the teacher, hoping everything will be sorted out. Unfortunately, luck is never on her side, and even after hearing the explanation, the teacher is unable to help her. Feeling completely hopeless, Shing keeps wondering why she is always so unlucky, and why these kinds of things only happen to her. That night, determined to solve the problem on her own, Shing secretly sneaks into the teacher's office. Just then, Fang follows Shing to the teacher's office. Seeing him, Shing says, I need to check the exam papers so I can figure out whose paper got mixed up with mine. Please help me. And one more thing. Don't call me a dummy again. Fang smiles and replies, all right, I won't. At first, Shing tries to sneak into the office through the window. However, she is surprised to see Fang simply unlocking the door with a key. It turns out that, as the class monitor, he already has access to the room. Embarrassed, Shing says, if you already have the key, then why was I trying so hard to climb through the window? She immediately walks through the door instead. The two of them enter the office together and begin searching through the exam papers. Eventually, Shing finally discovers who wrote their name on her answer sheet. However, before they can do anything else, the security guard suddenly enters the room. Seeing this, both of them quickly hide. After waiting for the right moment, they quietly sneak out of the office without getting caught. Later that night, Fang returns home. While looking through one of his old diaries, he suddenly starts wondering why Shing feels so familiar to him. Curious, he opens an older diary, and through a flashback, we learn that Fang had a very close female friend during his childhood. Remembering those precious memories, he can't help but smile. On the other hand, we see that Shing lives with her grandmother because her parents work overseas. Even though her parents are far away, Shing always takes good care of her grandmother, and her grandmother loves her dearly as well. The next day, Shing confronts a girl named Lu and asks, why did you write your name on my exam paper? Lu immediately denies everything and says, I never did that. Do you have any proof? Shing replies that if they tell the teacher everything, the truth will come out anyway. Shing is about to explain everything to the teacher, but at that moment, she sees Lu already standing in front of the teacher, getting scolded because of her poor grades. Seeing how upset Lu already is, Shing quietly leaves without saying anything. After school the next day, Lu meets Shing and explains that if she gets another bad result, her father will punish her. She sincerely asks Shing to forget about the whole incident. Since Shing has an extremely kind heart, she eventually agrees and decides not to expose Lu. Later, Fang asks Shing why she never reported the truth to the teacher. Shing replies, because Lu promised me she would never do something like this again, so I think it's better to let it go. Soon afterward, the teacher announces that there will be a parents' meeting at school. Hearing this, Shing nervously explains, my parents live overseas, so they can't come. I only live with my grandmother, but she's very sick, so she can't attend either. The teacher looks at Shing's poor grades and says, have you seen your results? Someone from your family must attend the meeting. Meanwhile, another student reminds Fang that he still needs to buy a gift for his parents. Hearing that, Shing immediately says that she wants to go with him. The two of them head to a supermarket together. Once they arrive, Shing starts filling the shopping basket with all kinds of snacks and food. Looking at everything she has picked, Fang asks, are you planning to throw a party or something? He then tells her that they are supposed to buy a gift card instead. After saying that, he buys the gift card and the two of them return to school. Back in the classroom, one of the girls asks Shing to put a poster on the wall. While trying to stick it up, Jing suddenly loses her balance and is about to fall. Fortunately, Fang catches her just in time. For a few seconds, they remain frozen in that position, staring into each other's eyes. The moment becomes surprisingly romantic before they finally step away. After school, Jing is walking home when Fang catches up with her and asks, do you need a ride? Jing politely refuses, saying that she can manage by herself. However, Fang notices that she looks unusually worried and asks, are you still thinking about the parents' meeting? Jing looks surprised and asks how he knew. Fang replies, I overheard your conversation. Jing then explains, my family isn't here and my grandmother can't come either. That's why I've been so stressed. After hearing everything, Fang calmly says, don't worry about it, I'll take care of everything. Jing excitedly asks, really? You can solve this problem? That would be amazing. You're such a responsible class monitor. Feeling embarrassed by all the praise, Fang quickly interrupts her and says, all right, that's enough. Stop talking. The next day, everyone arrives at school with their parents for the meeting. Fang comes with his mother, and because of her help, Shing is able to get through the meeting without having to bring any family member herself. After the meeting ends, Xing looks extremely happy because she no longer has to worry about the situation. At that moment, one of her friends tells her, Fang's mother is a judge, and his father is a professor. That's why he's so intelligent. By the way, I heard that yesterday you were hanging onto Fang's arm. Did he help you? Or is there something going on between you two? Hearing that, Xing becomes so embarrassed that she doesn't answer a single word and simply walks away. After school, Xing happily invites Fang, saying, Come on, let's have some juice together. However, Fang refuses and tells her to drink it herself. Xing smiles and says, All right then. She buys 2 drinks anyway and starts drinking both of them at the same time, saying, I was really thirsty. I can finish both by myself. Seeing her acting so silly again, Fang tells her to stop talking nonsense and hurry up. After that, the two of them continue walking home together. Since Fang helped Xing with the parents' meeting, she invites him to her house to thank him and introduces him to her grandmother. During their conversation, Xing's grandmother tells Fang, You two should always try to sit in the front row because Xing has weak eyesight. Hearing that, Xing quickly interrupts, saying, Grandma, I already sit in the right place and my eyesight is perfectly fine now. After chatting for a while, Fang decides to leave. However, Xing's grandmother warmly insists that he stay for dinner. Fang politely refuses, saying it's getting late and that he'll come another day. Xing immediately tells him, If you don't eat with us today, my grandmother will never let you leave. With no way to escape, Fang has no choice but to stay for dinner. Before the meal is ready, Xing takes Fang to her room. Just then, her grandmother calls her downstairs, so Xing leaves for a moment. While waiting, Fang notices one of Xing's childhood photographs and is about to pick it up. However, before he can get a good look at it, Xing returns with the food, so he never gets the chance to see the picture. A little later, they all sit down for dinner. As soon as Fang tastes the food, the spicy flavor completely overwhelms him. He desperately tries to signal Xing to hand him a glass of water. However, Xing completely misunderstands the situation. She thinks that food is stuck in Fang's throat. Without wasting a second, she jumps up and starts hitting him on the back over and over again. She even pulls him to his feet and shakes him from behind, hoping the food will come out. The whole situation becomes unbelievably awkward. Xing then says, Wait, let me try something else. Before she can do anything else, Fang quickly grabs a glass of water himself and says, This is what I was asking for. What on earth were you doing? Xing innocently replies, You should have told me. I thought something was stuck in your throat. Fang sighs and says, That's enough, I'm leaving. After Fang goes home, Xing keeps blaming herself and thinks, I'm such a fool. Why didn't I realize he was asking for water because the food was too spicy? The next day, the teacher announces that the school will soon be holding a festival. Several students will have to participate and everyone will first go through a selection process. Eventually, Xing is selected and is asked to attend rehearsals. However, during practice, Xing keeps forgetting her lines again and again. Seeing this, everyone becomes frustrated and says, If she keeps practicing like this, it'll take us an entire year to finish. Fang then tells Xing, Go home, practice properly, and come back tomorrow. Xing helplessly replies, I told everyone from the beginning not to choose me because I'm not good at this. Fang coldly responds, Fine, then don't come here from tomorrow. After saying a few more harsh words, he walks away. Poor Xing feels extremely hurt by everything Fang said. She sadly thinks to herself, Fang, why do you always treat me like this? You're such a mean class monitor. The following morning, while Xing is on her way to school, a basketball accidentally flies toward her after another student loses control during a game. The impact causes Xing to fall straight into the water nearby. At that exact moment, the drama's second male lead, Lee, happens to pass by on his bicycle. He immediately gets off, helps Xing out of the water, and makes sure she's all right. Xing sincerely thanks him, and the two introduce themselves to each other. Since they attend the same school, it's obvious that Lee wants to become friends with her. Later, Xing is having lunch with her friend in the school cafeteria. While eating some extremely spicy food, tears begin streaming down her face. At that moment, Fang notices her from a distance. Since he doesn't know she's crying because of the spicy food, he assumes she's upset about something. That night, Xing sits alone in her room and talks to herself. She says, Fang, why do you always act like this toward me? I never make mistakes on purpose. Determined to prove herself, Xing stays awake the entire night memorizing all of her lines so she won't make any mistakes during rehearsal the next day. The following morning, Xing deliberately ignores Fang because she is still hurt by everything he said during practice. Even after classes end, she refuses to talk to him. Finally, Fang approaches her and says, If you don't want to participate anymore, then give my script to someone else. Xing immediately replies, Who told you I was quitting? Of course I'm going to participate. Later, while everyone is rehearsing, Jing quietly hands Fang a bottle of Coca-Cola. Just then, one of their classmates says to Fang, "If you're not going to drink it, you can give it to me." However, Fang refuses to hand it over and keeps the bottle for himself. The next day, Xing falls asleep during class because she spent the entire night practicing her script. When she finally wakes up, Fang immediately says, "You're such a dummy. How can you sleep during class? Don't you know you can't study and sleep at the same time?" Xing instantly fires back, "Mr. Smart Guy, instead of always pointing out my mistakes, why don't you focus on yourself for once?" Later, while Xing is practicing alone after school, Fang secretly watches her from a distance. However, Xing catches him. Feeling embarrassed, Fang quickly makes up an excuse and says, "I was just passing by, let's go home together." Xing replies, "No, I forgot to bring my coat." Fang can't help teasing her again and says, "Why don't you just forget yourself one day?" Then, without saying another word, he takes off his own coat and places it over Xing's shoulders. After that, Fang quietly says, "About the other day, I think I was too harsh on you. Don't take it to heart, I only wanted you to perform well." Surprised by his words, Xing smiles and asks, "Wait, are you actually apologizing to me?" Fang doesn't answer Xing's question. Instead, the two of them quietly walk to the bus stop together. Before leaving, Xing sincerely thanks him for everything. She is especially happy because for the first time, Fang treated her so kindly. The next day is finally the day of the school festival. Although Xing is extremely nervous, she gathers her courage because today she has to play the role of a village girl. Once the performance begins, Xing surprises everyone with her excellent acting. Everything is going perfectly until disaster suddenly strikes. While performing on stage, one of her shoes accidentally flies off and lands right in front of Lee. The unexpected accident completely ruins Xing's mood. Even after the performance ends, she looks devastated. She apologizes to everyone because she believes she made a huge mistake that might cost her team the competition. As Xing is about to leave, Lee walks over and returns her missing shoe. Unfortunately, several students nearby begin laughing and saying, "Look, that's the girl whose shoe flew across the stage." Hearing everyone make fun of her only makes Xing feel even worse. A few moments later, Fang comes over and finds Xing looking completely heartbroken. Xing tearfully says, "I practiced so hard, but I still messed everything up. I tried my best not to make any mistakes, yet I still failed. What should I do now?" Fang gently places his hand on her head and says, "No matter what the final result is, you gave an amazing performance. So stop blaming yourself." Just then, one of their classmates calls Fang with exciting news. The student says, "Congratulations to all of you, and especially congratulations to Xing because she won the award for the most popular performance." As soon as Fang hears this, he smiles and says, "Hey, silly girl, stop crying, we won! And you even received the Best Actress award." The moment Xing hears the news, all of her sadness disappears. She becomes so happy that she starts jumping around with excitement. That night, Xing sits alone, thinking about her childhood best friend. She quietly says, "If only you were here today, I would have been so happy. Where did you go? Don't you ever miss me?" Interestingly, Fang is thinking about exactly the same person. He also misses his childhood best friend and wonders where she is now. The following day, we learn more about Lee's personality. He is quite mischievous and often blackmails other students into doing his homework for him. Later, while Xing is in the library, Lee follows her inside and says, "You're the girl who threw a shoe at me during the performance, aren't you?" Feeling embarrassed, Xing tells him, "Let's go outside and talk." However, Lee refuses and jokingly threatens, "If you don't cooperate, I'll tell everyone." Xing asks, "Then what exactly do you want?" Lee casually replies, "Nothing much. Just do my homework from now on." Left with no other choice, Xing reluctantly agrees. The next day, Lee comes to collect his completed homework from Xing. Fang notices everything from a distance, and he clearly doesn't like what he's seeing. Without saying a word, he quietly leaves the classroom. That night, Fang can't stop thinking about Xing. Deep down, he doesn't want any other boy getting close to her or talking to her. At this point, it becomes obvious that Fang has slowly started developing feelings for Xing. That's exactly why he feels jealous every time he sees her with Lee. Meanwhile, Lee continues trying to become closer to Xing and wants to be her friend. One day, one of the girls in class asks Xing, "Who was that handsome guy I saw with you?" The moment Fang overhears those words, he becomes even more annoyed and immediately walks away. That evening, Xing makes a handmade birthday card for one of her friends. At the same time, Fang is scrolling through Xing's social media profile. He keeps wondering whether he should send her a friend request or not. After thinking about it for a long time, Fang finally gathers the courage and sends the very first friend request he has ever sent to a girl. The next morning, Xing approaches Fang and asks, "Can I borrow your homework for a while?" Fang replies, "If you don't even have time to finish your own homework, then why are you doing someone else's? Do you have nothing better to do?" Xing keeps pleading, "Please let me borrow it, otherwise I'll get punished." After she asks several times, Fang finally gives her his homework. A few days later, Xing discovers that Li isn't only making her do his homework, he's been forcing several other girls to do the same thing as well. Hearing this, Xing goes to confront him. However, when she arrives, she sees that Li is already standing inside the head teacher's office. It turns out the teacher has already found out that Li has been making other students complete his homework. Afterward, Li meets Xing and jokingly complains, "Did you really have to copy everything in such beautiful handwriting? That's exactly why I got caught." Xing smiles and replies, "Serves you right." Later during class, Xing tries to secretly give the birthday card to her friend. Unfortunately, the teacher notices it. The teacher becomes furious and says that he wants to meet Xing's parents. Xing repeatedly tries to explain herself, but the teacher refuses to listen. Seeing that the situation is getting worse, Fang suddenly stands up and takes all the blame upon himself. He tells the teacher, "Sir, the card belongs to me." Because of Fang's quick thinking, Xing is saved from getting into serious trouble. However, Fang receives a small punishment instead. After class, one of Xing's friends excitedly says, "Did you see how Fang came in like a hero and saved you?" Xing smiles and replies, "You're right. Fang is actually a really kind person. He always helps me whenever I'm in trouble." Interestingly, Fang overhears their entire conversation, and hearing Xing praise him makes him secretly happy. A few days later, the school organizes a sports competition. Before the long jump event begins, Li deliberately says to Xing loud enough for Fang to hear, "If I win today, you have to go have juice with me." The moment Fang hears that, he becomes extremely competitive. Both boys begin looking at each other like rivals. Li jumps first and manages an impressive distance of 53 meters. Seeing this, Xing excitedly says, "Wow, I don't think anyone can beat Li." Hearing those words, Fang confidently replies, "I can jump even farther than that." Xing looks at him in surprise and says, "Really? If you actually beat him, then I'll cheer for you in front of everyone." After that, Fang takes his turn. This time, he lands at 54 meters, beating Li by a full meter and winning the event. Xing immediately turns to Li and says, "Looks like you lost. Fang won." As time continues to pass, the bond between Fang and Xing grows stronger. One day during chemistry class, Xing accidentally gets hurt. The moment Fang notices, he rushes over and treats her injury himself. His concern makes Xing incredibly happy, and she secretly smiles to herself. Later, the entire class goes on a school trip. While they are sightseeing, Xing secretly starts taking pictures of Fang. Unfortunately, one of their classmates catches her and loudly shouts, "Everyone look! Xing is secretly taking pictures of our class monitor." Hearing this, Fang immediately walks over and takes Xing's phone. Xing becomes nervous, thinking he's about to throw it into the water. Instead, Fang surprises her by taking a selfie with her. Looking at the photo, Xing says, "I thought you were going to throw my phone away." Fang smiles and replies, "I'm not that bad. Do you really think I'm such a terrible person?" Xing quickly shakes her head and says, "No, that's not what I meant." The two continue chatting happily together. However, from a distance, Li notices how close they have become. Seeing them laughing together makes him feel a little disappointed. Later, everyone begins hiking up the mountain. While climbing, Xing suddenly slips and nearly falls off the edge of the cliff. Fang instinctively reaches out to save her, but his hand suddenly freezes in midair. At that moment, we see a flashback revealing the reason behind his reaction. When Fang was a child, his younger sister suffered a terrible accident on a mountain. Back then, Fang couldn't save her from falling, and ever since that day, he has carried deep guilt inside his heart. Those painful memories come rushing back, causing him to freeze completely. Fortunately, before anything terrible happens, Li arrives just in time and pulls Xing to safety. After rescuing her, Li angrily looks at Fang and says, "How could you be so careless? What if she had actually fallen?" Fang doesn't argue or defend himself. Instead, he quietly apologizes to Xing before silently walking away. Even so, during the rest of the trip, Fang and Xing spend plenty of time together. Fang treats her much more warmly than before, and the two become even closer. Their friendship gradually grows stronger, and both of them genuinely enjoy spending time together. As the months pass, that friendship slowly begins turning into something much deeper. Eventually, the final examinations approach. Everyone becomes anxious because getting good grades means they'll have a better chance of getting into a good university. Xing is especially worried about her results. Seeing her sitting alone looking depressed, Fang walks over and encourages her. He motivates Xing and even promises to tutor her every single day so she can improve her grades. Hearing that, Xing happily agrees. Deep inside, she feels incredibly grateful. One evening, they study together until it becomes quite late. Since it's already nighttime, Fang tells Xing that he'll walk her home. As they walk side by side, it's obvious that the distance between them is slowly disappearing. Both of them have already started developing feelings for each other, even though neither of them has admitted it yet. Xing feels especially happy because Fang not only helps her with her studies, but has also completely stopped treating her harshly. She sincerely thanks him for everything he has done. That night, Fang has another terrifying nightmare. Through the dream, we once again see the accident from his childhood, when his younger sister fell from the mountain while they were playing together. Because he couldn't save her, he still blames himself even after all these years. The following day, one of Xing's classmates asks her to put up another poster. This time, Fang comes over to help her. However, the moment he reaches up to place the poster, memories of his sister's accident suddenly flood back into his mind. Everything becomes blurry, and he almost loses his balance. Seeing this, Xing quickly helps him down and asks, "Are you afraid of heights?" Fang quietly admits, "Yeah, a little." Xing then puts up the poster herself, while Fang holds her legs firmly so she won't fall. Little by little, their beautiful friendship continues transforming into love. Meanwhile, Fang's parents gently tell him that he needs to let go of the past. They explain that what happened to his sister wasn't his fault, and that he shouldn't keep blaming himself forever. Later that night, Fang is looking through Xing's notebook. As he reads it, an old memory suddenly comes back to him. He remembers that years ago, his little sister had introduced him to a girl named Xing. That girl eventually became his childhood best friend. At that moment, Fang realizes something unbelievable. His childhood best friend and the Xing standing beside him today are actually the same person. Wanting to confirm his suspicion, Fang immediately calls Xing and asks to meet her. Without wasting another second, he rushes to see her. By the way, some of you might be wondering why Fang and Xing lost contact if they were childhood best friends. The reason Fang and Xing lost contact is actually quite simple. Because of Fang's parents' jobs, his family had to move to another city when they were children. As a result, the two of them never stayed in touch, which is why neither of them recognizes the other anymore. After calling Xing, Fang hurriedly goes to meet her. Xing then takes Fang to her own secret place and says, "Whenever I'm feeling sad, I always come here." After sitting together for a while, Xing says, "Please tell me about the person you still can't forget." However, Fang quietly replies, "I can't tell you." Xing smiles and says, "Then what kind of friends are we if we can't even share our secrets?" "All right, I'll tell you one of my biggest secrets first. After that, you have to tell me yours." Fang finally agrees. Xing begins by saying, "When I was 7 years old, I had a serious problem with my eyes. At that time, my best friend was a girl named Ying. She donated her corneas to me, and because of her, my surgery was successful. That's how I was able to see the world again. Her older brother also gave me a necklace, and I've kept it with me ever since." As Xing shows him the necklace, Fang is completely stunned. The moment he sees it, he becomes absolutely certain that Xing is the childhood best friend he has been searching for all these years. After finishing her story, Xing says, "Now it's your turn." Fang quietly explains, "The reason I'm afraid of heights is because my younger sister once slipped from a high mountain. She already had a heart condition, so after falling, her condition became much worse and she eventually passed away. I've always believed that accident happened because of me. That's why I still haven't been able to forget her." Listening to his story, Xing suddenly realizes that Fang's younger sister must be the same girl who was her childhood best friend. Soon afterward, summer vacation begins. When school finally reopens after the holidays, Xing is incredibly excited because she'll get to see Fang again after such a long time. However, the first thing Fang says after seeing her is, "You've gotten a lot chubbier." Hearing that, Xing immediately starts asking everyone around her, "Have I really gotten fat?" Her classmates laugh and tell her, "Even if you've gained a little weight, you're still adorable." Just then, a new transfer student enters their classroom. Surprisingly, it's Lee. He happily greets Xing before sitting right behind her. Xing looks confused and asks, "Why are you here again?" Lee simply smiles and replies, "It's a surprise." After school, Lee meets Xing and gives her a joke book as a gift. Xing immediately refuses and says, "I don't want it. Last time you gave me something, you made me do your homework afterward. You should keep it yourself." Lee laughs and says, "Don't worry. This time, I don't want anything in return. Just keep it. Unfortunately, Fang sees the two of them talking again, and once more, he doesn't like it at all. The following day, Fang notices Xing and Li chatting together again. Watching them laugh together makes him even more jealous. As soon as Li walks away, Fang takes the joke book from Xing and says, "I'm the one tutoring you. If something is going to distract you from studying, I'm taking it away." Xing immediately protests. "Then you're fired. Give my book back." Fang calmly replies, "We made a one-year agreement. Whether you like it or not, you can't fire me until it's over. Now stop arguing and solve these questions." Xing has no choice but to obey. Before long, she becomes completely exhausted from studying. Meanwhile, that night, Fang goes home feeling strangely satisfied because he successfully stopped Xing from reading the book Li had given her. Previously, Fang and Xing used to walk home together every day after school, but now everything has changed. Since Li has joined their class, he also walks with them. When they reach the bus stop, both Fang and Li say goodbye to Xing. Li even tries to start a conversation with Fang, but Fang completely ignores him and walks away with his usual cold attitude. The next day during class, Li keeps throwing folded pieces of paper toward Xing. Finally, Xing asks, "What's wrong with you?" Li smiles and says, "Nothing, let's play a game." The moment Fang notices what's happening, his jealousy reaches another level. Xing and Li begin playing with the paper notes, but after only a few moments, Fang completely loses his patience. He grabs one of the paper balls and throws it back at Li before saying, "This is a classroom, not a playground." Then he turns toward Xing and says, "Dummy, if you want to play a game, play with me. It'll actually make you smarter. Why are you wasting your time on childish games?" Although Li feels hurt by Fang's words, he can't say anything because Xing is sitting beside Fang. Ironically, after Fang and Xing start playing together, Li is now the one feeling jealous. Later, Xing tells Fang, "It's my turn to clean the classroom today. Can you help me?" Fang replies, "I can't. I have another class to attend." After Fang leaves, Xing starts cleaning the classroom by herself. While cleaning, she begins dancing around happily without realizing that anyone is watching her. Coincidentally, Fang passes by the classroom and notices Xing dancing. Instead of interrupting her, he quietly stands there, watching her performance with a smile on his face and genuinely enjoying it. However, while dancing, Xing suddenly slips and falls. Fang immediately rushes over and reaches out his hand to help her up. The moment Xing sees him, she becomes embarrassed and asks, "When did you get here? Did you see me dancing? If you did, then tell me honestly, how was my dance?" Without changing his expression, Fang replies, "It looked like a crazy girl jumping around for no reason." Hearing that completely ruins Xing's mood. Later, the two of them walk home together. Along the way, Xing keeps asking Fang to return the joke book that he took from her, but Fang stubbornly refuses. The following day, something unexpected happens in the classroom. When the teacher turns on the lights, one of the light bulbs suddenly explodes, sending broken pieces of glass flying everywhere. Seeing the danger, Fang immediately rushes over to protect Xing. However, while trying to shield her, one of the buttons on Fang's shirt gets tangled in Xing's hair. The awkward situation makes Fang so embarrassed that he quickly untangles himself and walks away. However, one of the shirt buttons accidentally falls off and remains caught in Xing's hair. Xing also becomes extremely embarrassed, but instead of throwing the button away, she carefully keeps it with her like a precious treasure. After all, when you truly like someone, even the smallest thing that belongs to them becomes incredibly precious. That evening, Xing goes home and keeps looking at Fang's shirt button over and over again. Every time she sees it, she can't stop blushing. The next day, one of Fang's classmates suddenly tells him that Zhao has returned from overseas. As soon as Fang hears the news, he immediately leaves the classroom to meet her. Watching him leave in such a hurry, Xing asks the classmate, "Who were you talking about just now?" The boy replies, "Don't you know? Zhao is the class monitor's best friend." Hearing that, Xing feels strangely upset and thinks, "Why didn't I know anything about this?" When Fang doesn't return for the next class either, Xing becomes even more restless. A classmate tells her he's probably still with Zhao. Unable to stop herself, Xing leaves the classroom with one of her friends. Soon afterward, she finds Fang happily talking with Zhao. Later, when Fang finally comes back to class, Xing immediately asks, "Who was that girl?" Fang calmly explains, "Her name is Zhao. She used to study in our class before transferring overseas. Now she's finally back." During the next class, Zhao officially joins them. She walks over to Fang, gives him a small gift, and happily chats with him. Meanwhile, Poor Xing watches everything from a distance, feeling increasingly jealous. Just then, Li comes over and asks Xing to go outside with him, but she refuses because her attention is completely focused on Fang and Zhao. Eventually, Xing can't hold herself back anymore. She walks over to Zhao and says, "Excuse me, that's my seat." After Zhao moves away, Xing immediately asks Fang, "Do you know her very well?" Fang replies, "Yeah, Zhao is my neighbor." Then he asks, "But why are you suddenly asking all these questions?" Xing quickly lies and says, "No reason, I was just curious." That night, Xing can't stop thinking about Zhao. She looks worried, can't sleep properly, and spends the entire night tossing and turning in bed. As a result, she falls asleep during class the next morning. When the teacher notices her sleeping, he becomes furious and asks Xing to come to the board and solve a problem. However, before Xing can even stand up, Zhao solves the problem first. This only makes the teacher even angrier with Xing. A few days later, the school announces an inter-school knowledge competition. Xing desperately wants to participate with Fang because the winning team will receive 2 tickets to a luxurious 5-star hotel. The following day, the teacher announces that Fang and Zhao will officially represent the school. Hearing this, Xing's friend immediately tells the teacher that Xing also wants to participate. The teacher agrees but says they'll first hold a quiz competition between Xing and Zhao. Whoever wins will become Fang's partner. Hearing that, Xing becomes extremely excited because she finally has a chance. After class, Xing approaches Fang and asks, "I heard you're organizing the competition. Can you tell me what questions will be asked?" Fang replies, "I don't know all of them, but I copied down a few possible questions. You can study these." Xing happily thanks him. However, her friend immediately says, "Dummy, there will be around 500 questions in the competition. These few questions won't help much." After hearing that, Xing jokingly turns back to Fang and says, "Then give me back the drink I bought you. I'm not giving you a free drink for just a few questions." Of course, Fang isn't willing to lose either. He smiles and says, "Why would I return it? You already gave it to me." Even so, Xing refuses to lose to Zhao. She spends every day and every night studying as hard as possible because she wants to earn the chance to compete alongside Fang. Finally, the day of the selection competition arrives. Xing and Zhao stand face to face while Fang serves as the host of the quiz. As the questions begin, Xing performs surprisingly well. Although she gets stuck on a few difficult questions in the middle, she manages to catch up again. By the final round, both girls have exactly the same score. Everything comes down to the very last question. Xing answers it correctly and wins the competition. Meanwhile, Zhao looks heartbroken after losing because she also wanted the opportunity to compete with Fang. After class, Fang asks Xing, "Why did you want to join the competition so badly?" Xing quickly replies, "I just wanted to improve my knowledge." Before Fang can respond, Xing's friend suddenly blurts out, "She's lying. She just wanted to have lunch with you." Hearing that, Fang can't help but smile. Embarrassed, Xing quickly explains, "Actually, I've never eaten at a 5-star hotel before. That's why I wanted to win." That night, after falling asleep, Xing has a beautiful dream. In her dream, she and Fang win the competition, dress up nicely, and enjoy a romantic dinner together at the 5-star hotel. Soon, the day of the actual competition finally arrives. Both Fang and Xing are extremely excited. As the quiz begins, both teams perform brilliantly. The scores remain almost equal throughout the competition, and everyone knows that a single wrong answer could decide everything. Finally, the last question is announced. Fang and Xing answer it correctly and win the entire competition. The two of them are overjoyed. As the champions, they receive 2 tickets to a luxurious 5-star hotel. Unfortunately, Xing's terrible luck strikes again. Somehow, she loses both tickets. She searches everywhere but can't find them. Seeing her worried expression, Fang asks, "What's wrong?" However, Xing doesn't tell him anything. The next day, after returning home from school, Fang's father tells him, "Tomorrow, our whole family is going to have lunch at a 5-star hotel." The moment Fang hears that, he suddenly remembers how upset Xing looked the previous day. He immediately realizes that she must have lost the hotel tickets. Otherwise, she would have been excitedly talking about their plans. So Fang asks his father, "If you don't mind, can I bring one of my friends with us?" His father happily agrees. The following day, Fang meets Xing. Xing looks disappointed and quietly says, "I'm sorry. I lost the tickets." Pretending to search the ground, Fang suddenly says, "Wait a second, aren't they right here?" Xing has no idea that Fang had secretly kept the tickets himself just so she wouldn't feel disappointed. Before leaving, Xing dresses up beautifully for the occasion. She looks incredibly happy as she and Fang head to the 5-star hotel together. However, Xing had imagined it would be a romantic date. Instead, it turns out to be nothing more than a peaceful lunch with delicious food. Even so, she's still happy because she's spending time with Fang. The next day, the latest exam results are announced. Xing's grades have improved significantly. Seeing that, Fang says, "If you stop reading storybooks all the time, you'll probably make it into the top 10. Just then, the teacher announces that everyone's seats will be rearranged based on their academic performance. As a result, Zhao ends up sitting beside Fang, while Xing is moved to sit with one of her girlfriends. Xing can't stand seeing Zhao sitting next to Fang anymore. By now, she's completely fallen in love with him, so she decides that she'll finally confess her feelings. However, while walking past the classroom, Xing overhears Zhao talking to Fang. Zhao says, "We've been friends since childhood. I've always hoped we'd stay together forever." Hearing those words completely shatters Xing's heart. Without saying a single word about her feelings, she quietly walks away in tears. The next morning, Xing looks unusually gloomy in class. Fang notices and walks over, saying, "You solved this question incorrectly. Do you want me to help you?" Xing coldly replies, "There's no need. I can fix it myself." Seeing her suddenly act this way, Fang becomes confused. He wonders, "Why is she avoiding me? Did I do something wrong?" Unable to understand, he finally asks, "Are you misunderstanding something about me?" Before Xing can answer, Li suddenly walks over. Xing quickly says, "I'm not thinking anything about you." Then she leaves with Li, leaving Fang standing there alone. Watching them walk away together hurts Fang more than he expected. Later that day, Xing and Li continue chatting together. After class, Xing approaches Fang and says, "Give me back my storybook." Fang asks, "What do you even need it for? And why have you been avoiding me while laughing and talking so happily with Li?" Xing immediately replies, "What I do is none of your business." Those words deeply hurt Fang. Without saying anything else, he quietly walks away. The following day, the teacher calls Xing over and says, "Your grades have started dropping again. When you used to sit beside the class monitor, your results were much better." Hearing that only makes Xing feel even more upset. Later, Li asks Xing, "Are you free this weekend?" Xing nods and says, "Yeah, why?" Li smiles and replies, "Then I'll come pick you up." When Saturday arrives, Li visits Xing's house and takes her out. The two spend the entire day together, visiting different places and having fun. That evening, as Li walks Xing home, they find Fang waiting outside her house. Fang sees the two of them arriving together. After Xing goes inside, Fang and Li are left facing each other. Fang says, "Xing's grades have already started dropping. She should spend more time studying." Li calmly replies, "You're worried about her studies, but do you even know why she's been so unhappy lately? I only took her out because she needed someone to cheer her up." Li's words leave Fang deep in thought. He can't understand why Xing has been so sad or why she suddenly stopped talking to him. The following day, Zhao asks Fang, "The BMT exam is coming up soon. Are you planning to take it?" Fang replies, "Yeah, we'll take the exam together." Unfortunately, Xing overhears their conversation. Curious, she asks Li, "What is the BMT exam for?" Li explains, "As far as I know, it's the entrance exam for BDS University." The moment Xing hears that, her heart sinks. The university is located far away from their city. She realizes that if Fang gets accepted, he'll leave, and the distance between them will become even greater. On her way home, Xing walks sadly through the streets. Eventually, she sits down by the roadside and quietly wonders, will we ever get to see each other again? The next day, while Xing is eating in the school cafeteria, one of her friends says, "We should probably say goodbye to our class monitor soon. He'll most likely pass the exam and leave." Meanwhile, Li looks at Fang and says, "Let's have one final competition." Fang immediately accepts. The two boys begin playing basketball against each other. During the game, Fang accidentally gets injured. Xing instinctively tries to run over to him, but before she can reach him, Zhao rushes over to Fang first. Seeing Zhao by his side, Xing quietly stops where she is. Instead of approaching Fang, she runs to the school doctor and says, "Please give me some medicine. My friend got hurt." However, the doctor refuses to hand over any medicine. In her panic, Xing accidentally bumps her head against the wall and hurts herself. Even so, she doesn't give up. She runs to a nearby pharmacy, buys some medicine with her own money, and quietly leaves it on Fang's desk before walking away. Later, when Fang notices the medicine on his desk, He immediately realizes that Xing was the one who brought it. He walks over to thank her. While talking to her, Fang notices the bruise on her forehead and asks, "What happened to your head?" Xing casually replies, "It's nothing, I just got hurt a little." Fang sincerely thanks her for buying the medicine. Unfortunately, before they can continue talking, the class begins, forcing both of them to return to their seats. The following day, it suddenly starts raining heavily. After a while, Li takes Xing outside to enjoy the rain. Meanwhile, Fang quietly follows behind them. However, Xing never notices that Fang is there. Li and Xing happily enjoy the rain together. Later, after Xing gets on the bus, she looks out through the window and finally notices Fang standing outside. From that moment on, a huge misunderstanding begins between the two of them. Xing believes Fang likes Zhao. At the same time, Fang believes Xing has feelings for Li. Ironically, both of them are completely wrong. Because of these misunderstandings, the distance between them keeps growing. That night, Fang calls Xing and says, "I'll be taking the exam soon, and after that, I'll leave to study abroad. Can you meet me tonight?" Xing agrees and asks where they should meet. Fang replies, "I'll wait for you outside the bookstore." As soon as the call ends, Xing hurriedly leaves her house. Even though it's raining heavily outside, she still rushes toward the bookstore. She waits there for a long time. Meanwhile, Fang is also waiting outside a bookstore. The problem is that they're standing outside two completely different bookstores. To make matters worse, Xing's phone battery dies, so she can't call Fang. Fang keeps calling her again and again, but her phone is already switched off. Even while standing in the pouring rain, Xing refuses to leave because she doesn't want Fang to think she didn't come. Meanwhile, Fang suddenly wonders, could she be waiting outside the bookstore near our school instead? He immediately runs there. Unfortunately, by the time he arrives, Xing has already left. Because of this cruel twist of fate, the two of them miss each other once again. The following day, Xing can't stop worrying about Fang. She sends him a message saying, "I hope you become the top student in the entire class." When Fang reads her message, it makes him genuinely happy. However, after getting soaked in the rain the previous night, he falls sick and can't meet Xing. Even so, he misses her terribly. Meanwhile, Xing keeps talking to herself. She suddenly thinks, why do I have this strange feeling that Fang won't pass the exam? No, what am I even thinking? Something like that could never happen. Later, while walking together, Li suddenly asks Xing, "Do you like someone?" Without hiding it anymore, Xing replies, "Yes." Li quietly asks, "Is it Fang?" Xing smiles and honestly answers, "Yes, I really love Fang." The moment Li hears her confession, his heart breaks because he has fallen in love with Xing as well. Meanwhile, Xing keeps worrying that if Fang passes the entrance exam, he'll leave for England and disappear from her life. On the other hand, while taking the exam, Fang keeps looking at a small sticker that reminds him of Xing. Deep inside, he doesn't want to leave her either. Because of that, Fang makes an unbelievable decision. He deliberately starts erasing all of his correct answers so that he'll fail the exam and won't have to leave Xing behind. Meanwhile, Xing believes Fang will definitely leave after passing the exam, so she decides to buy him a farewell gift. She goes shopping, buys a present, and, together with her friend, organizes a farewell party so she and Fang can create one last beautiful memory before he leaves. Fang receives a special invitation, and all of their classmates are invited as well. When Fang arrives, Xing is pleasantly surprised to see him. She quietly thinks to herself, "I have to remember this moment forever. Who knows if we'll ever see each other again?" Everyone enjoys the party together. Fang even sings a song for everyone. As Xing listens to him sing, she starts remembering all the precious moments they've shared together. After the party ends, Xing gives Fang her farewell gift and sincerely wishes him good luck. Little does she know that Fang has already decided not to leave. Before they part ways, Fang finally clears up one of the biggest misunderstandings. He tells Xing, "You're thinking the wrong way about Zhao. She's nothing more than my classmate." Hearing those words immediately clears away all of Xing's doubts. At last, the misunderstanding between them finally comes to an end. That night, after returning home, Xing can't stop thinking about Fang. She's so lost in thoughts of him that she accidentally falls off her bed. Even after falling, she simply lies there smiling. After all, she's completely in love now. The next morning, Xing arrives at school. When she doesn't see Fang in the classroom, she quietly stares at his empty desk, missing him terribly. At that moment, she believes that Fang has probably already left for England. A few moments later, Fang finally walks into the classroom. Seeing him, the teacher is surprised and asks, "Didn't you leave to study abroad?" Fang calmly replies, "No, I failed the test." Hearing that, Xing is the happiest person in the entire class. The two of them quietly exchange smiles, and deep inside, Xing tells herself that her wish has finally come true. The person she loves has returned to her, and her dream has finally become a reality. Soon after, Xing receives another piece of good news. She and Fang will once again be desk partners so that Fang can help improve her poor grades. During class, Li secretly passes Xing a note, asking if she'd like to go to the library with him after school. Xing agrees, but Fang doesn't want her spending time alone with Li. So he finds a way to stop her, and in the end, Xing politely turns Li down. Naturally, Li feels heartbroken. A few days later, the school exams begin. Everyone is busy writing their answers when one student secretly cheats. Unfortunately, the cheating paper accidentally falls near Li's feet. The teacher notices it immediately and wrongly assumes that Li was the one cheating. No matter how much Li insists that he's innocent, nobody believes him. He even says that if he had actually cheated, he would have had the courage to admit it. But his words fall on deaf ears. Feeling deeply hurt and humiliated, Li leaves the school. Xing desperately tries to stop him, but he refuses to listen. For the next 3 days, Li doesn't return to school. Xing firmly believes that he would never cheat, so she asks Fang for help. Together with their friends, they come up with a plan to check the security camera footage. After reviewing the recordings, they successfully prove that Li was innocent all along. Realizing their mistake, the school management sincerely apologizes to him. Later, Fang and Xing visit Li together and ask him to come back to school. However, Li refuses. After all, the girl he loves is already in love with someone else, so returning doesn't seem meaningful to him anymore. Even so, Xing refuses to give up. She challenges Li to a race and tells him that whoever stops running first will lose. If she wins, he'll have to return to school. The race begins, but before long, Li gives up and admits defeat. Since he has lost the challenge, he keeps his promise and returns to school. By this point, Li has accepted reality. He lets go of his feelings for Xing, becomes good friends with both Fang and Xing, and everything between the classmates is finally resolved. After that, all the students begin preparing for their final exams. For several weeks, they study day and night, working incredibly hard. Eventually, the exam day arrives and everyone gives their best performance. On the final day of school, the students enjoy themselves and create many unforgettable memories together. When the results are finally announced, every student scores well. Xing is especially happy because she believes she'll be able to attend the same university as Fang. Meanwhile, we see Fang's mother scolding him for not going abroad as originally planned. Fang quietly listens without arguing. By coincidence, Xing overhears their conversation and starts wondering if Fang stayed behind because of her. Not long afterward, Xing happens to see Fang's wallet, and that's when she discovers an incredible truth. Fang is actually her childhood best friend. After learning the truth, the respect and affection she already has for him grow even stronger. One day, Xing finally asks Fang why he kept this secret from her for so long, and why he never told her the truth. Fang gently explains that he didn't want her to suffer after learning what had happened to his sister. Finally, Xing gathers all her courage and confesses her true feelings to Fang. Without any hesitation, Fang accepts her confession, because the truth is that both of them have loved each other for a very long time. They were simply too afraid to express their feelings until now. With the two of them finally becoming a couple and completing their beautiful love story, the drama comes to a heartwarming, happy ending.